Hey viewers, Shveet Godrico here, and I'm going to show you the top 3 cross-country vehicles in Forza Horizon 4. These vehicles are absolute beasts, with a ton of power and can handle any terrain you throw at them. These are the ones that will go where no other car dares to tread. Now, let's check them out. Let's kick things off with the 2017 Dodge Ram Rebel TRX concept. And what makes this thing so special for cross-country are its engine options. Let's check them out. The stock motor is a somewhat high-revving 7.2-liter V8. It is naturally aspirated, and there are no turbo or superchargers available for it, so this one's pretty tame. But up next, you've got an 8.4-liter V10, and this one is cool because it has not only a twin turbo available, but 2 different superchargers. The centrifugal supercharger produces boost exponentially with how fast the motor spins. So the higher your redline and the faster your motor can rev, the more boost this thing is going to give you, and thus the more power it's going to give you. The positive displacement supercharger is the supercharger that you always see on American muscle cars and American performance cars. It's called a positive displacement supercharger because it is always positively displacing the full amount of air that it can. As soon as you hit the gas, it is going to cram as much air as it can into that engine. It's never at an equal or negative amount of displacement. It is just always at peak boost, and that is why they are famous for giving instant power and instant torque. Still, though, I have to admire the twin turbo. It gives you just the same amount of torque or power, or in some cases even a little more, as the positive displacement supercharger, but it is 38 pounds lighter, at least in this case, and in most cases it is lighter than the supercharger system. Now, the only drawback is that it has a bit less torque, under 1300 RPM, but you're not really going to be spending any time under 1300 RPM, so I don't think that matters. Now, up next you've got a 6.5-liter V12. This one is pretty awesome because it's a V12 that revs to almost 9K. I mean, it's pretty insane for a big motor like that. The only forced induction available for this one is a twin turbo, though. Now, my favorite is the racing 7.2-liter V8. Now, as you can tell by the name, this is just a racing version of the stock motor that comes with the car. The torque and power curves are essentially the same, they're just higher. It has a twin turbo available and the positive displacement supercharger. And like I said earlier, I prefer the twin turbo in this case because it's 22 pounds lighter, and this truck weighs over 5,000 pounds, so you need all the weight reduction you can if you really want to stand a chance in a race. Now, with a few simple mods, you can get up to 1,200 horsepower with this thing and 900 foot-pounds of torque. Let's top it all off with a little bit of weight reduction and chassis reinforcement, and you've got a truck that weighs 4,000 pounds and has 0.95 lateral Gs. Coupled with the 1,200 horsepower, this should be more than enough to win any race. And that's what we're going to do up next. Let's check out how this thing drives. So now you're going to get to see the insane raw power of the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX concept as I do an unbeatable level cross-country race. This race goes from point A to point B, and unbeatable is the highest difficulty level in the game. I figured to really show this car's true capabilities, I couldn't settle for anything less than the highest difficulty level, otherwise I would be selling short its capabilities. I mean, you may not have noticed because I did it so quickly, but I just blasted past all the AI from 12th place to 2nd place. And the acceleration on this thing is just insane. One thing I didn't mention previously is that this car has a 8-speed transmission. Now, this gives it a great advantage over most of the other trucks, because the other trucks in this game almost all have 6 speeds. Having 2 more gears means that it can get through its entire power band much more quickly. You can make the gears shorter and shorter while still having a high top speed. So you don't have to sacrifice top speed for acceleration when you have more gears. Now I'm in 1st place, and I'm about to take this insane jump. Oh, and land it perfectly. God, I love this thing. Just the raw power is intense, and even though it doesn't have incredible handling, The fact that it just accelerates so well makes it really, really fun to drive and a serious contender in any cross-country race. Number 2 on the list is the 2016 Jeep Trailcat, and this is one hell of a cross-country car, and I'll tell you why. It doesn't have as many engine options as the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX concept, but the important thing is you can put that same 7.2-liter V8 racing motor in there, which I went ahead and did, but with one little difference. I went for the supercharger this time instead of the twin turbo. Now I felt like I could make this sacrifice in weight because the Jeep Trailcat is just so much lighter than the Dodge. It's over 600 pounds lighter, yet it has almost the same amount of power, only 19 less horsepower, and almost the same amount of torque. It's only got 22 less foot-pounds of torque. So because it is so much lighter, yet makes nearly the same amount of power, this puts it ahead of the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX concept because it's going to handle better and it's going to accelerate better because there's just not as much mass that needs to be pushed around. Now let's go ahead and see how it performs in a race. This is the Beach Castle cross-country circuit, possibly the most challenging cross-country circuit in the entire game, especially on unbeatable level. Seriously, this will make that race that I just did in the Dodge Ram Rebel look like a cakewalk by comparison. It is hectic, it is technical, and it is unpredictable, which is why I thought it would be a perfect proving ground for the Jeep Trailcat. Now, you may have noticed there are a bunch of other Jeep Trailcats in this race, and that's because it is probably one of the most popular cross-country cars in the game. Offline or online, I see them all the time. Now, because it is such a lightweight car, when you take a jump and get some air, you really get some air. I mean, I just passed 3 people. Oh, I just perfectly handled that tunnel. I mean, try doing that in a Dodge Ram pickup. Try doing that in any big-ass pickup truck. It's just not going to happen. You won't get that much air, and you probably won't make it through that tunnel in one piece. The lightweight is a bit of a double-edged sword, though. As you might have noticed, I lose control all the time. Because there isn't as much weight pressing down on the tires, it's very easy to start sliding and lose traction, which means it is very difficult to drive one of these things, but it is worth it. Finally, we have the 2007 Toyota Hilux Arctic Trucks AT38. Now, some of you might be surprised to see a Toyota pickup truck as my number 1 pick, but I'll explain why. First, though, let's take a quick look at the engine. Now, I've got the 6.2-liter V8 in here. I believe it's a Dodge pushrod engine originally, and the other options are a 4-cylinder turbo rally engine and the 7.2-liter V8 racing motor. Now, I highly recommend you not to choose the turbo rally engine. I just don't think it has a lot of potential, and I don't think it's a very good engine in general. The reason I didn't put the racing motor in this car is that I wanted to keep this truck in A class. Now, out of all the different cross-country classes that I've tried, the B, the A, the S1, the S2, I find A to be the funnest. It seems to me that it's just the right balance of performance capabilities without going too far into supercar territory where the cars have like 2,000 horsepower. I mean, it's simpler, but somehow it's more fun. There's less bullshit. It's hard to explain, and you'll probably have to try the different classes for yourself, and you may not agree with me, but that's my reasoning for that. Anyway, let's talk about the main reason, though, why I love this car. The handling. It's just amazing. I mean, first of all, it has a perfect weight balance, a 50-50, 50% front, 50% back. The weight's not too high. It doesn't have that crazy amount of power like the Dodge Ram truck, but it doesn't really need it. You don't really need to brake that much around corners, and as a result, when you're driving this truck in a race, you get to keep all your speed. You don't have to sacrifice any of it in order to maintain your grip on the road. So you can see here the lateral Gs are pretty solid, 0.92 and 0.95. It's hard to really tell just from the statistics. It probably doesn't seem that impressive on paper, but I'll show you in the race right now and you'll see exactly what I mean. Now, this cross-country circuit right here is part of the Winter Seasonal Championship. I chose this one because I thought it would be the perfect track for showcasing the Hilux's superior handling. The reason? It is full of turns, and some of them are very technical. Now, I'm not sure just how much of the great handling of this truck comes from my tuning versus from the innate properties of the truck itself, but whoa, what the hell is that? Anyway, yeah, I'm not sure how much of it is the truck and how much of it is my tuning, but I'll say this. I've tuned a bunch of different cars and trucks and SUVs, and I couldn't get any of them to handle cross-country circuits the way I can get the Hilux to handle them. I mean, it just eats up corners. Look at this, buttery smooth. I never thought I could turn an otherwise sensible utility vehicle into a enthusiast car. I mean, the reason they call Porsches, for example, enthusiast cars is because you don't need to brake as much. They handle very well. They're very good at coming into corners and coming out of corners, and that is exactly how this truck feels. It is just so smooth and velvety when you're getting into a corner and getting out. I mean, just look at my brake lights. Try and count how many times I've used them. I think maybe just like one quick tap so far. I'm not even sure, because I just barely ever touch the brakes when I drive this truck. It's amazing. I can't really overstate how fun it is to drive a big pickup truck and weave in and out through the corners, maintaining first place in a race without ever touching the brake. It is just really fun. That's why I think this is the #1 cross-country vehicle, because you can pick it up, grab my tune, or just tune it yourself, and rip through cross-country races with amazing handling, never having to slow down, always keeping your speed high. There's nothing really like it. But whether you agree with me or not depends on whether you prefer crazy straight line speed or smooth grippy handling. Either way, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and leave me a comment below telling me what you think of this video and what your favorite trucks are. Thanks for watching.